keji lah, biadab lah bagi kami, itu biadab betul bagi kami. Bagaimana orang sebegitu baiknya
ada indikasi yang dilaporkan hilang tersebut satu keluarga ini kemungkinan dibunuh.
Salah benar Pak, sangat menyesal. Yang sebesar-besarnya saya minta maaf atas terjadinya hal seperti ini.
One family in Way Kanan, Lampung, was found dead. The family of 5 was killed by perpetrator Erwin, 40, in 2021. This heartbreaking incident occurred in Marga Jaya village, Negara Batin district, Way Kanan. The 5 victims were found in 2 different locations. 4 were found in a septic tank, while 1 was in a cassava garden. The 4 victims, namely Zainuddin, 60, the perpetrator's biological father, the perpetrator's stepmother Siti Romla, 45, the perpetrator's older brother Wawan Wahyudin, 55, the perpetrator's Nisara, 6, were killed in October 2021. The discovery of this case began when the head of the local village, Yani, was surprised that the victim Zainuddin had never prayed in congregation at the mosque again. The head of the village of Marga Jaya Yani was surprised because there were mosque congregations who usually came to the mosque, did not come to pray. Because he was suspicious, Yani then asked the members of the other mosques. Then, a resident came to Zainuddin's house. There, residents met Erwin, the perpetrator. At that time Erwin argued that his father and mother would go abroad to the mountains. The suspicions of the residents and Yani increased after Erwin sold Zainuddin's land. I asked Erwin, and he was told by his father to sell the land to pay debts.
Si Erwin ini timbul kecurigaan saya, kenapa saya harus melapor? Karena kok Erwin ini menjualkan hak punya Wanda, tanah punya Wanda, punya bapaknya dijual. Nah, terus semakin mendalam saya.
Furthermore, at the end of 2021, Juwanda, who is the perpetrator's younger half-sister, returns from migrating. When at home, the victim Juwanda asked where his parents were. But the perpetrator Erwin answered if his mother and father went to the mountains. Juwanda and Erwin went to the mountains to confirm the whereabouts of their mother and father, and finally returned home, without their whereabouts being known. Since then, Erwin and Juwanda have always argued and bickered. They were even reconciled by the local secretary of village. The peak was in February 2022, when there was a commotion between Erwin and Juwanda. They were noisy at the Kampung Marga Jaya market. Then since that night it was reported that Juwanda was missing. Then, the head of the village, Yamin, became suspicious of Wanda's disappearance, and then asked one of Waha's perpetrators. Based on the information obtained, his suspicion was correct that he and Erwin had admitted that they were involved in the murder of the victim Juwanda. Juwanda was killed by being beaten in the neck with a long iron about 1.5 meters, while the victim was sleeping in the house. After the victim was helpless, his neck was tied with a rope and then dragged into the kitchen. The victims, who had died, were immediately transported by pickup truck. His body was taken to the cassava garden area and buried.
Semakin mendalam bahwa saya ini curiga, dia mulai bulan Juli sampai di bulan September, Oktober, tanggal 4 Oktober, saya panggil si Wahyu. Saya pertanyakan, kepada dia. Awalnya dia tidak mengakui. Nah, terus saya bawa ke belakang, tempat gelap, saya pertanyakan. Saya tanya, si Juanda ini ditujah apa dipukul? Langsung saya tanyakan seperti itu. Dia menjawab, dipukul, Pak. Siapa yang mukul? Bapak. Nah, terus
baru keungkap semua.
baru keungkap semua. Dikubur di mana? Saya sampaikan seperti itu, dikubur di luar kampung, Pak, di kebun. Langsung saya berangkat sama dia, sama Sekdes. Benar.
The perpetrator's motive was because the perpetrator often argued with the victim regarding inheritance issues. Meanwhile, from the results of the investigation, 4 victims, namely Zenyudin, Siti Romla, Wawan Wayudin, Zura, were also killed by Erwin in October 2021 using an axe. The perpetrator allegedly killed the 4 victims at one time using an axe. Meanwhile, the victim Zura was killed by strangulation. After being killed, the 4 victims were thrown into a well that had been used as a septic tank behind the house, then immediately closed it and cast it with cement. After the 2 were arrested, the police then dismantled the septic tank where the victims were buried.
Apa sih alasan kamu itu untuk melakukan pembunuhan terhadap 5 korban tersebut?
Ya, alasannya karena utang piutang.
Karena utang piutang. Kemudian, bagaimana cara kamu membunuh ke-5 korban tersebut?
Yang 3 pakai kapal. Kalau orang yang kecil itu pakai kain. Kalau yang adik tiri itu pakai besi.
Kemudian, kamu itu setelah melakukan pembunuhan tersebut, kamu kemanakan jasad para korban tersebut?
Kalau yang 4 saya masukkan ke kita karena posisinya udah pagi subuh, dan dengan warga bawah, jadi bisa masuk ke dalam kita.
Jadi alasan kamu untuk memasukkan ke septic tank tadi, coba kamu ulangi?
Ya, alasan saya karena takut ketahuan warga kalau rencana mau ke bawah.
The Enafis team and the Lampung police by Arankara police dogs carried out an excavation of the suspected murder victim's grave and will continue for an autopsy.
Jadi untuk urutan yang dibunuh yaitu pertama Wawan, 2 Zainuddin, 3 Siti Romlah, dan yang keempat baru Zara. Nah, untuk posisi membuang korban, yaitu posisi yang pertama itu saudara Wawan dulu. Ya, saudara Wawan masuk, bersangkutan habis merokok masuk di depok ini, kemudian masuk ke septic tank. Yang kedua itu Siti Romlah, ya. Siti Romlah, yang kedua dibuang, 3 itu Zainuddin. Kemudian yang ketiga terakhir itu Zara. Setelah itu di atas tumpukan korban-korban ditaruhlah kasur. Ya. Kemudian kemudian besoknya sekitar jam 3 siang esok harinya tersangka ini mengecor untuk menutupi barang bukti sehingga tidak tercium ataupun tidak ada yang bisa membuka. Jadi permanen tutupnya.
For the actions of the perpetrators, they were charged with Article 338 of the Criminal Code concerning the crime of murder with the threat of imprisonment for a maximum of 15 years. However, it can develop if the results of the examination of the perpetrators prove that there is a plan that we will be charged with Article 340 of the Criminal Code with the threat of death or life imprisonment.
Kejilah biadab lah bagi kami, itu biadab betul bagi kami. Bagaimana orang sebegitu baiknya kok harus bisa terjadi hal-hal seperti ini gitu loh.
Kamu melakukan pembunuhan terhadap 5 korban tersebut, apakah kamu merasa menyesal?
Menyesal betul Pak, sangat menyesal. Semuanya sudah dari anak, sudah nggak kelihatan lagi. yang satu juga udah masuk anak perempuan nggak pernah ada kabar lagi. Semuanya nggak tahu Pak, gue sangat menyesal benar.